Hey, what's up? These are the issues that I find inside of people's bellies when I talk to them about their mood issues, okay? Not in any the different order. I have nothing written down for this. I'm just gonna rhyme it off because I see it every single day. The thing that I see most commonly is bacterial imbalance. So bacteria that live inside of your belly, they can create different chemicals that are gonna change the environment inside of your belly. So for example, you can have a certain type of bacteria growing inside of your belly that creates inflammation as a byproduct. You can have another group of bacteria inside of your belly that creates histamine, the allergy alarm bell response inside of your belly. You can have another group of bacteria inside of your belly that actually create signals to dampen or calm down some of those other bacteria causing problems. So we have this balance inside of our belly. We have some things that cause some racket and some noise that we just don't need. And we have some other things that kind of quiet some of that noise. And the teeter-totter's chronically doing this back and forth. And what's interesting is that your lifestyle, your food choices, your sleep, your medications impact this teeter-totter. How much it sways is interesting. It's up to you. So it's supposed to move back and forth. You want this kind of fluid environment to your intestine. But remember, you are in charge of what this intestine does. How dramatic are those swings? It's up to your lifestyle. The second thing that I find inside people's bellies chronically when I look at testing is yeast. Yeast, you need yeast inside of your body. It has some very specific jobs. Yeast is actually beneficial to so many systems inside of your body. You need a small bit of it, but you don't need a lot of it. And so many people have a lot of it. And interestingly, there's a whole bunch of theories as to how yeast overgrows. But let's just break it down for a second. Yeast is an opportunistic bug. It's an opportunistic organism. So when it's inside of your body and your immune system can keep it in track and you're not stressed and you're having good quality sleep and you're eating good foods and you're not having binges on the weekends with high yeast type foods, the yeast behaves itself. No problem. But when you don't let it behave, it starts to go wild inside of your belly, causing this disturbance. And yeast creates an enzyme when yeast eats sugar, it creates a byproduct that's toxic to your body. So when that's toxic, when a body perceives a toxin, it goes into alarm response. What is that and where did it come from? And your body will divert its resources to your liver to get rid of so many of those toxic metabolites that yeast is creating. When you do that, you pull away your nutrients. Don't worry, there's going to be a whole video about what nutrients are going to be supportive to your body when dealing with mental health problems. But yeast would be the number one thing that's living inside of your belly that's robbing those nutrients that keep this thing happy. So if you've got chronic yeast problems, you need to address those effectively. The third thing is going to be digestive disturbances. Having heartburn or indigestion or not properly digested food, or maybe you have a gallbladder problem, or maybe you're having, maybe there's a whole bunch of gas living inside of your intestine. Digestive disturbances are also a key indicator that something is wrong. And when you're not properly digesting your food properly, you're not going to properly utilize your nutrients. And that's going to have another impact on your mental health. So imagine for a second, you and I are going to come to a campfire. We're going to both bring something to light the fire. And I'm going to bring cardboard, paper, easy to burn stuff. And you're going to bring wood, dried wood to sit down and enjoy for the whole night. What's the difference? They're both going to light on fire, right? But interestingly, mine's going to burn real hot, real fast, and then I'm done. And then you're going to sit there back relaxing if you lit the fire properly and let it just go, right? So interestingly, when it comes to these digestive disturbances, think about the fact that if you don't have enough good quality nutrients inside of your body, you're not going to have a nice, consistent level of neurotransmitters created because of the fact that there's not enough raw ingredients. So if you're not digesting your protein, not digesting your fat, not digesting your carbohydrates, not pulling apart those nutrients that you need, you're going to have a problem with satisfying those nutrients on a longer period of time. So we need to focus on digestion, right? And the last one I'm going to talk about that I see chronically, problem-wise, is going to be not getting rid of your toxins, not pooping. Constipation is one of those other things that's going to cause trauma. You just don't feel well when you don't poop. Simple as that. Your body has this almost like a sponge inside of your intestines, like a sponge. It will soak up that last bit of water inside of your intestine there. And what it will do is it'll kind of dry out that stool and kind of leave that hard impactment on the bottom part of your bowel or your rectum. But what's interesting about that is that that water it reabsorbed, it can have toxins in it. Remember, bowel movements are waste products, stuff that your body didn't need. And we're going to reabsorb that waste product. Imagine putting a garbage can out to the garbage container. My garbage is tomorrow. And then me going out and taking a bag of garbage out of my garbage container to pull back inside of my house. Why would I do that? Doesn't make any sense. But our bellies end up doing that to pull back in those toxins because it's reabsorbing those toxins if they're not being eliminated properly. So focusing on something that might help you move your bowels might be one of the digestive troubles that you want to solve to help with your mental health and your mood. So there's no guesswork to this. This is very common. If you have any of the things that I just mentioned, don't freak out because it's very, very common. I see at least 10 cases of all these things every week. Great protocols to help you, great services, great supplements, great diets, know what to do with you, no problem at all. But there's also some times where there's a whole bunch of things happening at one time. So you can have the bacterial overgrowth with the yeast, with the indigestion, with the bloating, with everything else, right? And those are the more complicated cases. And that's the time where you have to kind of like dissect that a little bit. So get a report in your hand to show you, well, what's living inside of your belly. You know, how high is it? How bad is it? How low is it? What's happening? And that's a test that I'm going to talk about in the next video, which is called the GI map. So I'll take you through a typical GI map test, explain what it is, show you what it is, and help you realize if you need that test to solve your gut riddle. So remember, chronic digestive problems are going to be related to chronic mental state problems. Simple as that. So they're one and the same. They're connected. So if we can solve one, most times we solve the other. Have a fantastic day. See you soon.